And I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 25. Can you tell us what that is?
This is a projectile that was recovered from Joel Souza's shoulder.
And how did you get that?
I responded to the hospital and received it from Deputy Lujan.
And when you took it from Deputy Lujan, what was it in?
It was in a plastic cylinder container.
And what did you do with it?
I took it to the office and photographed it with scale.
And after you photographed it, this is your picture here, right?
Yes.
After you photographed it, did it get sent anywhere?
Yes, it got sent to the FBI lab.
State's Exhibit 20, can you just tell us what that is?
This is the exterior of the church.
State's Exhibit 21, can you tell us what that is?
This is the interior of the church.
State's Exhibit 24, did you take that photo?
Yes, I did.
When did you take that photo?
This was after the firearm was recovered from Lieutenant Benavidez's vehicle.
Is this the condition the firearm was in when you recovered it from Lieutenant Benavidez's vehicle?
Yes.
Is this the condition it was in when it was sent to the FBI?
Yes.
All right, bear with me. Let me catch up with you here. Did you participate in making the decision about which items of evidence were going to be analyzed at the FBI?
Yes.
And let's go through the items of evidence that were sent to the FBI for analysis. State's Exhibit 24, we understand it was sent, correct?
Yes.
And I think you testified previously that you sent it for DNA testing, is that right?
Yes.
And without talking about specifically that testing, did you get results back?
Yes.
Did you, I think you indicated that you sent it for functionality testing, is that right?
Yes.
And did you get the results of that?
Yes.
And then at some point, did you participate in a discussion or a decision to have additional testing done on this gun?
I believe I was part of that conversation, yes.
Okay. And so was additional testing of this gun requested at the FBI?
Yes.
And do you recall generally what that requested testing was?
I'm uncertain as to what they phrase it as, but I believe it was a drop test that was requested.
And what did you intend them to test for?
That the firearm, whether or not it would be able to go off without the trigger being pulled, I believe.
Okay. And did you send some of the boxes of ammunition to the FBI?
Yes.
Why?
We sent all of the suspected rounds, suspected live rounds, to determine if they were in fact live rounds. One additional round was sent that did not make a sound to determine whether or not it was a dummy round. And I believe that in the case of the box that was recovered from Lieutenant Benavidez's vehicle, they wanted it in its entirety, so we sent them the entire box.
Okay. And when you're talking about the box, are you talking about the box that we saw earlier that said 45 long Colt dummies with a JS in the middle?
Yes.
And what kind of analysis did you want done on the box? Did it have anything to do with the box itself?
We wanted latent prints completed on the box itself.
Okay. And is it customary, if you can explain to us how this works, is it customary that the Sheriff's Department swabs items of evidence for DNA?
There are times where we will swab items for DNA. However, Most labs, when we are requesting that they assist us, they want the items in their entirety. So they want to complete the swabbing themselves.
So with regard to State's Exhibit 24, which is a photograph of the firearm, with regard to that firearm, did you swab it for DNA?
No.
Why not?
Because we were sending it to the lab and that determination had already been made, we wanted to send it in its entirety to the lab.
So was it swabbed at the FBI?
Yes.
And in terms of, it sounded like you did another search. You did a search of a business in Albuquerque. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you know why the sheriff's department wanted to search that location?
It was my understanding that because the owner of that business had assisted in supplying dummy rounds to the set, that we wanted to ensure that we weren't finding any additional live rounds. And to determine that, we needed to search that warehouse as well.
And what was that person's name, the person who owned that business?
Seth Kenny.
And was Mr. Kenny there when you conducted the search?
Yes.
And did you find live ammunition inside that business?
Yes.
Visibly, in terms of the details of the ammunition, did it appear to be identical to the live ammunition that you collected from the set of Rust?
No.
What did you do with the live ammunition that you collected from PDQ, Mr. Kinney's business?
It was sent to the FBI.
Why? What were you asking them to do?
We were asking them to compare the gunpowder inside of the rounds found at PDQ to the gunpowder found inside the live rounds on set.
Why?
We wanted to determine if they originated from the same place.
And did you get the results back?
Yes.
And if you would, I see that you've got a box with you.
Yes, they do.
Can you pull that box out for us? May I approach?
Yes.
Let's have a look at what's in your box. Just the part? Can you give them to me? I'm going to show you what I am going to mark as State's Exhibit 34. Mr. Spyro, do you want to have a look?
I think because it's in the box, I don't have a...
Do you want to come up here and have a look?
Sure. For searches, in this case.
No objection to 34.
Okay, I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 34, and I would ask you to tell us what we're looking at here.
So this this is the live round that was taken from the box located in Lieutenant Benavidez's vehicle. It's been deconstructed by the FBI. Therefore, we have the casing, the projectile, and the gunpowder that was inside all separated.
And is the gunpowder in this container here?
Yes.
For all of the 5 live rounds, suspected live rounds that were sent to the FBI, were they all disassembled by the FBI?
Yes.
And were they all returned to you in this condition?
Yes.
Do they all look exactly the same?
Yes.
I'm going to move into evidence States Exhibit 35, 36, 37, and 38.
Your Honor, if I could just ask one clarifying, just to find out the date of that, just so I know, because I haven't examined
The date of what?
it. When she received them back, or the date around,
I think she-
approximately is fine.
Do you know approximately when you received them back?
I do not. I have that back at the office, but I don't have it on me at the moment.
Can you give us an estimate? Was it a month? Was it a year?
I would estimate 6 months to a year.
That's fine, Your Honor, thank you.
Did you also say 39 or just end at 38?
I ended at 38, but there will be a 39. You said they all look the same, right?
Yes.
Is that true also of the powder in the little container?
Yes.
It all appears to be the same.
Correct.
And I'm showing you, sorry, I keep throwing them down, 35, 36, here's 37, here's 38. The live rounds that you sent to the FBI that you collected from PDQ, did those live rounds come back in kind of this same condition, disassembled?
Yes.
And-
Are you able to zoom out a little?
Oh. Here. Is the glare, would it be easier if I just handed it to you?
It's okay.
Well, can I approach and I'll hand you what's been marked as States Exhibit 38.
Yes. For the record, these have all been admitted and published.
Yes, they all returned in such a condition.
So the live rounds that you took from PDQ, did I ask you to bring those here today?
You did not.
Do you have them back at the Sheriff's Department?
Yes.
And when they were returned to you from the FBI, they were deconstructed like this, right?
Yes.
So you had a casing, a projectile, and a container of powder.
Yes.
Did the container that holds the gunpowder just visibly, did it appear the same or different than the live rounds that came from the set of Rust?
It was different.
And you could just see that with your eye.
Correct.
And I'm going to show you what has been, or what I will mark right now as States Exhibit 39, just for completeness. And what is that?
This is the spent casing that was located on top of the cart.
Okay. Is there anything else that you did in this case, generally?
In general terms, I was also asked to collect DNA standards, fingerprint standards from various parties so that those could also be sent for comparison at the FBI.
And what parties did you collect DNA standards from?
I collected them from David Hall's, Hannah Gutierrez, and I believe Lieutenant Benavidez as well.
Did you, I'm sorry, do you know whether or not a DNA standard from Mr. Baldwin was collected?
It was collected by another agency.
Okay. you took the firearm out of Mr. Benavidez's patrol unit, did it appear to be damaged or modified in any way?
Not that I was able to see.
And let me go back to State's Exhibit 21. What are we looking at there?
This is the interior of the church after I've laid down evidence markers.
So just explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury so that they know what are evidence markers and where do we see them in this picture so they can make sense of what they're looking at.
Evidence markers are utilized so that when we go back and reference photos, we can easily determine where things were placed in a scene, where things were when we went there. So in this photo specifically, any numbered areas were physical items of evidence or possible evidence that was collected by myself. Any areas that are marked with a letter were areas of suspected blood that were also swabbed and collected.
And just to be clear, the evidence that we've looked at that was photographed, all of these, is that all the evidence in the case?
No.
And the items of evidence that you brought in the box, that's not all the evidence in this case, right?
Right.
Do you still have all of the evidence?
Yes.
And where is it?
It is in the evidence vault at the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office.
So if anyone wants you to bring it in, you can do that, is that right?
Yes.
All right.